Hal here with more Space Engineers, and as you can see, we have gotten quite a bit done. So we will walk you through what has changed, what we are doing, and what the plan is for right now. But first, we have to get started, so let's go. So, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully you had a fantastic weekend and are having a terrific day thus far. Oh, we have been doing all sorts of stuff. We have been welding and mining and more welding and more mining. It's been rather tedious. So I am thinking what I may do is that when we're ready to do the final weld up, I will probably put Bob back in. For those who don't know who Bob is the build and repair, the nanobot build and repair mod. Basically, I'll only use it to do the big weld up. I'm not planning on doing the whole thing manually because I've been doing a lot of that. Let me show you what we've got so far. We've welded up a lot of the original infrastructure. Well, all of the infrastructure should be welded up at this point. We've also welded up some of the armor blocks, which I then had to go back and remove and replace with other things. So yeah, it's been a very long weekend. Alright, so all of that being said, I've made some decisions on a few things. Alright. So first off, we're going to add a few more thrusters. I think I'm going to do a 4x4 grid on the thrusters here. There we go. So, or I should just say a row of 4. So we do 4 on 4 like that. On the side, I think we're going to increase this up to 3, and then we're going to keep that spacing where we have one block in between each. And we're going to do that on the other side, because with the amount of mass that we've added to this build, basically I'm fairly certain the thrusters that we had would not be able to lift it, because when you get back here this thing is going to be massively just ridiculous. So I've actually had to come through, modify the terrain out so that the blocks, pardon me, hiccups. So the blocks would not basically intermix with the voxels, so that this thing can be converted to a ship without it, completely clanging out. Now, one of the things that we did do is inside each of the launch bays, we offset. If you remember the last time, we offset one of the hangar doors towards midship, or towards the center line, I should say. And then what we did is we put in the upper portion of a 2x1 ramp block. So what that'll do is that'll give us this nice little pocket down here behind the door, to hopefully keep things out of the way when we go to launch something. Now, I haven't gotten all of the stuff here in the middle yet. Let me turn on the light so you can hopefully see a little bit better. We're in that weird time of day in the game where things just, we got light from that, but we're just, we're in a crater, so we have to make do with what we got. Now, what we will be doing is I am going to run some conveyors in here, and I think you are going to come out there. And what's going to happen is we'll have an area in here. I'll show you what this is going to look like when it's actually done. So what you'll end up with is something like this. Alright. And what we're going to do is let's see. So for the artificial mass blocks work, there has to be a battery on it. So we're going to have a merge block, a battery, and then the the artificial mass block. On the warheads that we're going to build with the the projectiles we're going to build with warheads will have the merge block, the warhead, and then an artificial mass block. The reason I'm putting the artificial mass block at the front is because the way that they work, what you end up with is a problem. So if you put it anywhere else, the mass, if you have enough mass, it'll cause it to start spinning, and we don't want to have that happen. So we're going to put the artificial mass block at the tip of the projectile, and then everything else behind that. Now we do have enough room that if we need to, we can do a merge block. Oh no, we don't. So it would be merge block, battery, artificial mass. So we may need, well, I guess we just don't use these as decoy launchers then, because it would be merge block, warhead, artificial mass. I mean, we do have the side. Oh no, we'd have to change that, which we could do. We could do that, but then that throws the mass off. All right, I'll probably have to redesign those a little bit. Not a problem. I've done worse. Okay. Oh, you know what I could do? I could. Oh, that would be absolutely evil. Instead of using merge blocks, we could use rotors, because the rotor effectively counts as, well, no, because it would still be 2 blocks, because the rotor head actually counts in space of the second block. So merge blocks still wouldn't really be a gain. All right, yeah. So these will end up being basically just warhead launchers then. That's fine. Or I don't know. We'll figure it out. I mean, I could just do... No, that would take a battery mod. Yeah, no matter what we do, we need to have a merge block here. My neighbors apparently have decided to start running around. Okay. Now, what we did is, if you remember on the other side of the ship, what we did is we left some spaces here. And what we're going to end up with, let me go here, is we're going to drop a couple of small thrusters in. No, come here, you. And I may change this design up later. These are probably going to be one of the last things I weld up, because I'm not quite sure where I want all of the thrusters to be yet. And so what I was thinking is we do... Damn it. Damn it, Panda. There we go. There. And then what I did on the other side is these 3 here. Let's change this up. Came out, and then these 3 came out for additional thrusters. And I'm thinking that that's going to be okay, because this is actually going to get sculpted. These are going to be back probably 2 blocks or so. Just use these for now. So what I'm thinking is that you'll end up with something like that, and so we'll have this come out. I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm going to go this way with it. If I want to just go simple, like a simple rounding on it, or if I want to bring this out a little bit further. Because one of the things that I had thought about doing was bringing this whole thing out a little bit more. Yeah, that's what I want. And then we say something like that, maybe? I mean, it doesn't do a whole lot for it. but it would bring it out a little bit further. But not a whole lot further. So, because basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to round this off a little bit, because I want to have as much space back here as possible, because what I'm going to do is in areas like here, we're going to run a conveyor set through, and that's going to feed a repair system out here. So we'll be able to have decoys on an area that's a little bit further away from the center of mass, hopefully. One of the things that I thought about doing was explosive armor. So I don't know how many people are familiar with this concept. Basically what we would do is we would have, say, I'm just going to use these to represent here. Now this isn't necessarily where it would be attached, but so we'd have, say, a merge block, or even have, you know, a flat armor piece here with a merge block out, with another merge block, and then you build out a couple of blocks from there. Let's say something like this, right? And somewhere in here we would put, you know what, let's do it like right here. So here we would have, we're going to use a different shape.
Energy low.
Let's use, that works. We'll do that. So we have like a battery here. And then what you end up with is, say, a small thruster here. You know, and this is why you'd build it out like 5 or 6 blocks. And do the same on this side. So let's say there would be a thruster there. And so if you get into a situation where you have a lot of things coming in at you, what you do is you turn on these thrusters, right? You would turn on the thrusters, turn off the merge block, and the entire piece with the decoys and everything would fly away from the ship. So the idea is that you would be basically having sacrificial armor as an active countermeasure. So if you fly into a base or something that has a lot of weapons, specifically like missiles, you'd have, say, decoys on this. You know what? Let's just go ahead and grab them. So you'd say something like this, maybe, where you have like 2 or 3 decoys, and then you have another layer of armor, and maybe, you know, another set of decoys down here. And the idea is that as weapon fire comes in and things get damaged or break off, you'll be able to keep some decoys attached to the power grid, so they'll hopefully continue to draw aggro away from you. But you never know. So this is kind of what I was thinking about as a more active defense. You know, like a secondary active. The idea being, if you're familiar with modern tank and modern armor concepts, they have, one of the things that they have is an explosive armor. So when things get close, like it has a computer tracking on it. So when a missile or other explosive device is seen coming in,
critical.
It does a really quick calculation and then detonates a small charge that destroys the warhead or inflicts enough damage on the warhead to either divert, destroy, or lessen the explosive. Basically, he calls it to trigger early. And then the between that and the ablative armor attached then absorbs the kinetic energy from the blast. But, you know, advanced armor concepts. Now, the problem with this is that this would be a manually triggered piece. And I'm wondering if there's a script available on the workshop that would do the same thing. So I may have to do a little searching. because the I know that there are why am I not taking damage? Of course I'm not gonna complain about because well no, we should be taking damage. Alright, let me check here something. No, I don't have any creative mode stuff on. Weird. I'm going to just chalk it up to space engineers being space engineers. I'm like, did I go into creative mode and not realize it? Because I was playing around with some designs in a different save, and I was like, shouldn't be this save. Anyway, okay, so. But yeah, that's just to give you an idea of what we're looking at long term here. So, for those who are paying attention, you probably noticed that the engineering section, specifically the engine room that we were building, is no longer part of the ship. For those who don't know, we had probably another back to about here or so, because we had 4 large reactors in a room that we had built, and I think we're going to change that up, because what I think we're going to do is I think we are going to, let's get back here, we're going to go here. Okay. What I'm thinking we're going to do, actually, let's go with the lighter blocks here. We're going to say that's there. Do I want to do that, or do I want to go kind of liking that a little bit better, I think. Because I'm thinking about placing engines back here, making this be the aft portion of the ship. Now, the one thing that I don't like about that is that it's a straight shot into the command area. Because originally what I was planning was having another room back here to basically break up the line. But I'm not sure if we're going to keep doing that or not. And the other thing that we're doing is, you'll notice this little tower. What I'm thinking about doing is having this have a camera mounted on it. And then we will have the same mounted on the bottom of the ship. And what that will allow us to do is that when we're doing bombing runs, you know, specifically with this portion of the ship, we'll be able to switch the camera and see roughly where things are going to land. Because I'm not expecting to be in motion when I'm using these things, because of the fact that we're using gravity cannon, basically. We will also do the same for the underbody launch here, this lower bay. Yeah, I just don't know if this is going to work the way I want, honestly. It would be kind of interesting to set up a rotor system, but I don't think I want to do that. It'd be nice if these doors were 3x, because if they were 3x... damn it, Keen. Why couldn't you guys give me a 3x1? These should be odd numbers, and the doors themselves should be odd numbers, even numbers counting the block seat. Alright. Okay. But yeah, so basically we'll have something down here to do the same. What I will probably end up doing is placing it here, since it's in the middle of the array. And then that way we will, when everything is in place, we'll know roughly what area is getting carpet bombed. Okay. Well, that is something at least. So how many blocks is this? 2, 3, 4, and then the door. I'm thinking I made these one too short, actually. 1, 2, 3, 4 is where it should be, and then that would be the... There you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's what... So then you end up with... Oh, you know why? Because we'd have 2 hollow projector systems. That's why. So yeah, these end up being basically warheads only. That's fine. Alright. So yeah, these will be warheads only. The ones up front will be interchangeable with warheads and decoys. That's fine, it works. Because we don't... Well, I mean, it wouldn't be bad to have the ability to launch like 8 decoys in any one direction. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to what we were talking about. So what we're talking about is having some targeting systems. So we'll end up with basically a conning tower, I guess you could say. It's not a full communication suite, but it will be a targeting system, and then that will be whoever has the fire control for that will actually have control of the ship when they are doing it. So I'll probably set it up in the actual pilot's seat, and we'll deal with it from there. So now the question is, do I want to have the engines on this thing come back further? I think I do. Because some of this is going to basically dictate the overall shape of the ship. And we've gotten to the point now where the structural systems are kind of dwarfing the actual ship itself. Well, some of the components are starting to dwarf the ship, because that's a really large block of metal. Now the benefit is, one of the things that I was thinking about is we could actually turn this area here that has all of our lovely stuff on it. Basically, we could turn this into a hangar space. So we'd have a hangar, and then trying to figure out where we would put things here, which would actually justify us... What's behind this anyway? I don't even remember what's behind that. That is the upper hangar. So lower hangar, and then landing bay. So what we would need to do then is... You would need to come out. So if we did that... Let's go... Like so. So we need to change this around here just a little bit. Now what we would do is this would end up being open. You're actually feeding stuff. Oh, that's a vent there. So we'd have to move the vent back. Let me check that hallway, because I'm fairly certain we put 2 vents in that hallway. We got this vent here, and that's because of this airlock. Alright, so... we have a block behind it. Okay, so if we do that... So if we take that out, this is the airlock into the hangar space. I mean, it's not bad to not have the airlock or to have the vent there. Because the only time you really have to worry about it is if you're going into that hangar space.
Inventory full.
So yeah, let's go ahead and drop that out. Oh, you are... lots and lots of plates. There we go. Okay, makes it easy. Make sure we got them all. Yes, we did. Okay. And now we can... There we go. Drop those there. Take the rest of that. And now we need to pull out more plates. There we go.
Energy low.
Okay, and... there we go. And so what I've been doing is as I go through, I'm pulling some of the heavy blocks out and replacing with light armor blocks in areas that are not quite so, let's say, risky. So if we do that, I need a block here. So there'll be stairs that go up. How do we want to do this? Because this was not something that was originally really planned. So you end up here. So you have 1, 2 stairs. So we'll do a door, 1 stairs, 2 stairs, and a block. Let's go to you. You guys are actually airtight. So we could even do that. And that solves some of our problem.
Energy critical.
And then we end up with... that's 1, 2... So if that comes forward, this will all be closed off on this side. So if we do something like this, and the reason I'm worrying about this so much is because basically once I get this figured out, we're going to have to duplicate this on the other side. So I'm trying to make sure that everything ends up being blocked off and airtight, because this is going to be basically our hangar space is what we're looking at. And you're going to come out this way. 1, 2, 3. We could use that as our... so where's our door going to be? Our door is going to be here. Maybe
No
maybe
energy.
Ah! Oh, that's right. I parked it up here. Oh. Whew. Okay. So the ship is growing quickly. Oh, so if we want to do this as a hangar space. I might need to extend that out a little bit. But I'm not sure. That'll work for now. Come here, you. Because what we're going to need to do is we're going to need everything to go over this. So the flight deck has to be at least that tall. If we did something like this. We could actually have it come through with another step up. So we'd have another, say, put a doorway here with a step up to there. And this would be, actually, let's do this. Just to give us a little separation here so we can actually see what we're trying to build. Alright, and you are there. So this would basically be the landing area. Let's go drop, actually. Can we get into... Let's go back this way, because we can. Drop you really quick. There you go. Let me get back up in there. There we go. Oopsie. Okay. So let's go plates, and hopefully you can see where my my thought process is on this right now. We'll come through and weld some of that up so you can see it a little bit better. That's 1, 2, 3. So if we do say 4. Actually, we're gonna have the blocks for it. Let's go 5. So if we do something like this. And then this being the outer... Oh, no. Oh no, that was right. Oh, son of a... Oh. we do something like that, you know, then we do heavy armor blocks for the outer edge. We could actually build into, and then let's go that. And then over here we do the same. Get rid of those for a second. Why are you not? Oh, because I don't have anything attached to it. There we go. No. And that gives us a internal hangar bay, and then we basically repeat that process over here, which should work out if I counted those out correctly. 1, 2, 3, and in the corner. 1, 2, 3, and in the corner. So yes, that should work out. So then we end up with a couple of forward hangar bays. We have the lower bay. Because the way I'm looking at it is we've got all of this space that we're using, that we have, that we're not really effectively using. So I'm trying to find ways of filling in the space that will also allow us to do things and still be able to sculpt the ship a little bit. Because one of the other things that I want to do is I'm thinking that this will actually wrap around a little bit. So we will go, I don't know. So let's go something like this, maybe. So you end up with something along the lines of that. And we'll do the same up here. And what I'm thinking with this is that we'll be able to mount some of our thrusters in the spaces between here. So, and then like I said, we'll have the system in here that will take care of some of the other stuff for us. The question is, though, do I want to have something that effectively calls attention to this area? I don't know. See, the final skinning of the ship is going to be a pain. I may do, maybe we'll do some skeletal work. Because, let me see what this looks like from the front before we lose the sun. Of course, that is starting to look a little monstrous. What are you looking like from above? Let's get the light source behind us here. I don't know. Tell you what, we'll put it up to a vote. Let me know if you like the idea of having the hangar there, or if I should move the hangar elsewhere. And the idea is that, like I said, I want to have some secure landing areas, which we do have on the bottom of the ship. But this would give us the ability to have a more obvious target. But it does make sculpting the ship a little bit more, let's say, difficult. You know what I could do? I could actually move that hangar space down so that it's off to the side of the ship. which would mean we just have to move those thrusters, which we could move. Actually, we could make the thrusters part of the deck. That's a very real possibility. And then basically what would happen is each of the staterooms here would look into the hangar space. That could be a thing. That could very well be a thing. Because we could also replace the locker that's here with a door so that basically everybody can get over here. Oh, that might be a thing to do. Rapid deployments. And what we do is we instead of having the hangar facing forward, we have the hangars off to the side. It'd be one large hangar, but we'd have, you know, say 2 or 3 fighters, like small fighters that you could launch quickly. This could be a problem. You're not going to be anywhere near us, right? No. Okay. All right, that worked out. So yeah, let me know what you think. Put your feedback on the hangar layout into this down in the comment section. And what I'll do is I will hold off doing any pre-recording this week if I can. And we will do that. We'll take your feedback and see what we can come up with. Also, let me know what you think about these rear launchers. Do you think it adds too much mass or too much bulk to the ship? Because like I said, it is getting, you know, the mass on this thing is just outlandish at this point.
Energy low.
And so I'm thinking we might parse this back a little bit. Instead of having dual direction launchers, we end up with, say, just either vertical going up or vertical going down, which would allow me to reposition some things and cut the mass down, but it does cut down on the functionality of the ship. Of course, the way it's going, we're probably only going to use this for planetary bombing anyway. So it may not be a bad idea to just go ahead and take this entire upper section out and move the launchers up a little bit so that the launchers are actually centered on the ship. Because I mean, there's still like, was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks? So basically, everything would move up. We would take the top 4 off of there and the bottom 4 off of here. Yeah. All right. Okay, so yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and call this one here. The homework assignment is in the comment section. Let me know 2 things. Should we go with a single launch tube if we go with this, or a single launch array, tube array? If so, instead of the double system that we have, should we then adjust this? Well, if we go with a single launcher, yes, we'll adjust it. So I just need to know, do you want a single array up, single array down, double array? And do you want the additional hanger? And if you want the additional hanger, do you want it like on the top, on the side, or on the bottom? I'm thinking probably the top or the side would be the most viable, because if we don't put anything down here, we can actually add more of our thrusters just to give us a little bit more lift, because I have a feeling we're going to need it. Okay, so yeah, let me know. Alright, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to throw those down in the comment section, whether or not they are related to the questions we have on the ship design. Definitely, if you have feedback on the ship design, leave that as well. If you enjoyed what you saw, make sure you hit that like. If you want to see more, be sure to hit subscribe. And if you really want to be kept up to date when new content comes out, there's that little bell. Make sure that is active. So many things to do, right? All right. I think that's going to do it for us today. Thanks again for stopping in. And we will see you back here on Wednesday for more Space Engineers. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. The ship's coming together, but so much left to do.